Page 53, Turkish March. There's several pages here I didn't give anything on because it's technique and review and reading and stuff in the book that's important to do. I just don't give lessons on it. However, I'll briefly talk about it here. On page 46, you're going back to the previous unit. Their technique, you're dealing with the chords in G major and E minor. The primary chords, broken or blocked. As I said, 4, 5, 7, and for G major, same thing. You need to know the primary chords in these keys, so it's good to review that. On page 49, they're introducing you to the key of D major. D major has two sharps, the F sharp and the C sharp. See, the sharps and the flats and key signatures are always in a set order. Now, they're different between sharps and flats. Sharps have their order, flats have a different order, but within it, in other words, the F sharp is always the first sharp in a key signature. So no matter how many sharps you see, once you know what the order is, you don't have to figure out what the sharps are, you just know them. If you happen to know what the scales are, then you're even better off because now you also know which black keys are involved. Just automatically, it all kind of falls into place. It's nice how it works. So in D major, go do my scale video on D major. One octave up and down. I explained it all in the thing, but it's important that you be able to do this. So we have the F sharp and the C sharp. And the C sharp, by the way, is always the second sharp in its key signature for sharps. Yeah. So they also give you the primary chords for D major. The 1 chord, 4 chord, 5, 7. You need to know those. Blah, blah, blah. Give you some reading exercises. You can do that. Have fun with that. If you have questions, you're welcome to ask. Be careful on these reading exercises that you do the articulation and everything just like it says. It's a good practice to do that. You can practice articulation with the scales. I mean, you can play a scale legato, D major. Play it staccato. Play one hand legato and the other staccato. And switch it around. It's all good exercise because you run across this stuff in pieces, and if you have been working on it in the scales, when you hit it in the piece, it's not quite so hard. Anyway, let's go over to page 53 on Turkish March. 4/4 time, it's in the key of D major. Right hand first. You have the F sharp. So it's just a D chord, a primary chord, 1 chord, but it's split up. Try and connect the A and the F. So get off of the F sharp, so you can do that. And then 1 and 2 and 1. You gotta cross over. Like so, and then you come back up. You have A sharp here. And then third line, come up, third finger. Don't forget the C sharps. And they say third finger here. That's kind of hard. I recommend you do fourth finger and thumb. And then third finger. So let's look at this. Third line, last 2 measures. You're here. I recommend reach up fourth finger. And you can do thumb and then third finger. To me, that's much easier than what their suggestion. Now, you can get away with what their suggestion because there's a staccato on the C sharp. Because you lift up on the C sharp. Bottom, bottom. And when you do that, you can move. I feel this other fingering I'm suggesting is a more solid fingering, even if you're doing that, because you can feel it better. When you first start trying to figure out a fingering of a piece, I suggest you try it, play it legato, all connected. Does the fingering work or not connected? And then when you go to add the articulation, you don't have to worry about the fingering. It's all taken care of. So there, and then the rest of it's pretty much the same what you had. In the left hand, you're starting out here, and then here. It's hard to do. So just practice it over and over. Take your time. You should do it in both hands. You can just have the hands mirror each other. The wrist here, the weight is pushing the notes down, so my wrist is collapsing each time. And as the wrist comes down, the new fingers go down and the old fingers go up, or something like that. And try them together. You don't have to go fast, go slow. Next one, get ready. Raise the wrist up, lower the wrist, and change notes. Again. It's up to you on how fast you go. But this is something, this is one of the more difficult things to do in piano playing, is this parallel third thing. You gotta learn to do it, so tackle it now. And within a few years, you'll finally get it, because it can take a while to get this part. But here, do the best you can with this. That's really about the hardest part. Go down to the third line. You're here, and then here, and then the last measure you hear. You're all right in this position until the last measure, when you have to come down to here. Put the hands together. We get this. Make sure you lift up the right hand when you play the second. Right there. So, you may have to go a lot slower than that. I tend to speed it up on these videos to get through the video a little quicker, but you can go real slow. Let's take the last, or the second line. And the last two measures, you're here. Just work these notes out. It sounds weird, but that's what's there. And then come up. Up into sunshine again. Articulation, a nice light wrist or hand staccato here. And it's an accent on the first beat in the right hand. Not the left, just left, right. Again, wrist staccato. Bum, 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 bum. Just changing fingers each time. 1, 2, 3, rest right there, and then here. Now there's no accent here, so there's a natural accent on the first beat of the measure, but that's felt, it's not forced. Now there's an accent. So there's a difference between the natural accent, which you just feel it, and a forced accent. It's don't get carried away. There's bigger and stronger accents than this, but it's more than a natural accent. It's a last line here. And that last note is accented. And then these come up at the same time. Here. Dynamic wise, this says loud. That's the right hand. Then the third line, you come down a little bit to moderately loud. Now you're going to crescendo up over the next two measures, back up to loud, but don't get loud until the next line. So careful. And you stay loud then from then on. Speed-wise, allegretto I call it a fun speed. It's faster than moderate, but not as fast as allegro. It's in between. It's a fun piece. I think about how fast I've been going is that. That's how I would play it. Other people would play it at different speeds. It's up to you. I'd like to play it with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. Not going to do the dynamics. So I'll give us 4 counts. So let's try it together. 1, 2, ready, go. 2, 3, rest.